What does amen mean? I'm Dave Chambers, pastor of Manistique Bible Church. Today's Everlasting Truth question comes up because of recent events at the opening of this year's session of Congress. Every year, Congress begins with prayer. And this year, the opening prayer was said by the representative from Missouri, Emanuel Cleaver. Now, he made the news because he ended the prayer with amen and a women. Now, I cannot tell you how ridiculous it is to treat amen as if it is a gendered word. What the representative did was take a word that has meaning and joined it with a nonsense word that has no meaning. But what does amen mean? Amen is actually a Hebrew word that made its way almost unchanged into English. In fact, the word is one of those words that has passed through several different languages without much change. So amen is found in the Greek New Testament, and there it carried basically the same meaning as it did in the Hebrew Old Testament. Today, amen is used in two different ways in English. Most people recognize it, as the congressman did, as the last word of a prayer. In some churches, people in the congregation will say amen while the preacher is speaking. Now, why do we end prayers with amen? I mean, the word means so be it, or let it be true. So it's a word of confirmation. It's a word of agreement, essentially stating, I agree with what has just been said. So, for example, just before the nation of Israel crossed into the land of Canaan, God told the people to divide into two groups. One group on one mountain and another group on another mountain. And the Levites were positioned in between the two groups, and the Levites were to cry out the curses for disobedience to the law. And after each curse, the people of Israel were to respond with amen. So their amen was a declaration of agreement. They were saying, so be these curses on us if we disobey God's law. Now, the Greek New Testament expands on the Old Testament meaning somewhat. The word in Greek also carries the meaning of truly. So in this sense, the word amen stresses the accuracy of what is being said. So Jesus said amen on a number of occasions to clue people in that what he was about to say was very important. So he said, for example, to Nicodemus, amen, amen. Except a man be born again, he cannot enter into the kingdom of heaven. He was saying, truly, truly, without being born again, you cannot enter heaven. So Jesus used that word amen as a way of saying, pay attention. I am telling you the truth. And today, many people use amen in really those same ways. They use it as agreement. So a listener in a church service may say amen to the preacher as a way of saying, I agree, that's the truth. And prayers are concluded with amen as a way of kind of confirming all that has been said before. It's basically the prayer is saying, God, I've asked for these things. I'm asking you to let them be so. But why do we say amen at the end of our prayers? Why did we pick that word instead of many other words that we could have picked? We end our prayers with amen because the Bible shows a clear pattern of prayers ending with amen. In fact, in the Lord's Prayer, when Jesus instructed the disciples on how to pray, he ended that prayer with amen. And so that instruction is the pattern for all of our prayers today. But even though we would conclude our prayer with amen, the word means much more than just, I'm done praying. What we are doing is we are saying, I agree. I am affirming that what I've said is true. So, for example, if we're offering our praise to God and we're telling God how much we love Him and how wonderful He is, and we end with amen, we are saying, God, I affirm everything I've said is true. I believe these things to be true about you. It's also expressing our desire to make our requests so, to do what we have asked. We're saying, God, I affirm these requests. I want you to make them happen, to answer my prayers. And so to treat amen as a gendered word or as if it is a word reflecting some sort of masculine oppression, that's just foolishness. The word comes from a language from Hebrew that existed thousands of years before English. To turn it into nonsense words is just a waste of time and a waste of breath. Instead, We can use amen properly to express our agreement in prayer and to express our true desire for God to answer our prayers. Now, if you have more questions for Everlasting Truths, you can submit them to our email address, upquestions@gmail.com.